think about it. It's not about what your partner is doing. It all still boils down to you, right? And the last tip that I'm going to give to you for really being able to manage the dietary differences with your partner is to remember your why. Why did you set out to create this shift? Why did you set out to create this change? Really think about it. Why are you wanting to do this in the first place? Welcome to Health Coach in a Box. I'm your health coach on my internet, and I'm super grateful and excited that you are here with me today. Okay, so if you have decided to make healthier choices in your diet, if you have decided to improve your health, to eat more fruits, to eat more vegetables, to work on unprocessing your diet, but you are struggling because your partner, your boyfriend, your husband, your spouse, whoever is not quite on board, this is the episode that you definitely want to tune into today. Okay. So, one of the top concerns and frustrations that I've had from my clients, both women and men, honestly, is that when they have decided to make healthier choices, it's frustrating because their partner doesn't hop on board and they don't know how to keep going with their goals if they have to do it solo manolo. Okay, so we're going to just dive right in and I'm going to give you tips on how to maneuver this because think about it. It's not about what your partner is doing. It all still boils down to you, right? Just because you made the decision to make better choices, to create a lifestyle change, doesn't mean that those around you are ready to make that shift. Who knows? Will they ever be ready? So I'm going to give you the tools you need, the strategies that you need to move forward and still remain committed to your goals. So let's start off with number one. Is to communicate with your partner. So communication is everything, right? Communication is so important. Communication is, I would say, one of the bases of a healthy relationship, right? And I know I've been guilty of this, right? Like I want to do something or I've done something, and then I expect my partner to just understand what this means. I expect them to just know that this is important to me, and why aren't they supportive? No, you got to communicate this with your partner. So you tell your partner, hey, I'm looking to make this change. And you tell them why. Like, for example, hey, I'm wanting to really work on managing my diet because I want to get off my diabetes medication, right? And this is important to me. So you have to have that conversation. They're not going to just notice it. They may see you eating the fruits, the vegetables, trying not to eat the takeout too much, but maybe they're not putting two and two together, and they shouldn't have to. We have to communicate this with our partners. Let them know what you are doing and why it is important to you. I've had clients who have literally said that they have not communicated this. They are frustrated that their husbands are not seeing like what they're doing and they're not really supportive to them, right? And then I asked them, well, have you communicated with them? And they're like, well, no, he should know. He sees me buying all this stuff. He should know that I'm trying to make changes. No, honey, you gotta tell him. Okay, we gotta tell them. Okay, and then also let them know how they can support you, right? So that's moving into my point number two. Okay, let them know how they can support you, right? So, for example, big part of this is letting them know your triggers. Okay, so you're like, hey, I want to do better, but my husband, my boyfriend is always offering me potato chips when we're laying in bed together at night. And he knows I love potato chips. And it's hard for me to say no. So why does he even ask me when I already told him I'm trying to do better? And then your husband is like, well, I'm just trying to be helpful. Like, be nice and kind. I'm not going to sit here and eat something and not offer it to you, right? So he's not even coming from this space, but we take it as negative and we take it as frustrating because they don't know how to support us. And once again, it boils down to communication. How can people support you if you don't tell them what you need to be supported? So perhaps it's don't offer me certain types of foods. Like it's hard for me to say no. The temptation is heavy. So please just don't offer it. I know you want to do it to be kind, but to be kind in that situation is to not offer it to me. right? Or maybe, you have your date nights and your husband wants to take you out, or your boyfriend wants to take you out, or your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, because we are all about including everyone in this, right? So if you're like, hey, for date night, my partner's always taking me to these restaurants and I can hardly find anything to eat that is like healthy, that's on my diet, and it's frustrating. How about you find a place, right? Or you tell your partner, hey, when you look for a restaurant, can you make sure they sell certain things so I can still stay on board and stay on target with my goals, right? Once again, communication. People don't know how to support you. We may think that they should know, but we have to tell them that is being kind to them, because then they know what to do. So it takes the guesswork out of it. And then it helps you to feel supported so that you can keep moving forward with your goals, right? Okay, so let me look at my little notes. Okay, so next step is to plan in advance. So it can be especially difficult when you live with someone and you all have different diets and you're really working on making the transition to a healthier diet. Right. And it's hard when it's like you see certain things laying around, certain foods being cooked or brought into the house. So you have to equip yourself, right, with the foods that you need so that you can be successful. So, for example, plan your meals. Plan your meals, because the worst thing you can do is be hungry and then someone in the house orders something that you don't have no business eating, but you're hungry, so you give in, right? So being able to plan in advance. Hey, I know I always have quinoa in the house. I know I always have, some sweet potatoes. I know I always have some mushrooms. I know I can throw something together really quickly, even if I don't feel like cooking this huge, big to-do meal, right? So preparing in advance, having your snacks ready. So, for example, your spouse, maybe y'all in bed and watching Netflix, and that's when y'all be pulling out the snacks, and he pulling out his cookies, and you know what? You are ready. You don't have to eat his cookies because you got your nuts. Okay, you got your nuts. You got a piece of fruit, right? You have some popcorn or something that you feel is healthier for you, right? That's supporting your goals. You are prepared, but the temptation comes in even more when you don't have a replacement, right? So he has cookies and you don't have a snack to put in his place. You're going to be like, okay, baby, just break me off a little piece of that cookie. Just a piece, because I'm trying to do better. So I don't want the whole thing, right? But if you have prepared ahead of time, you would already have what you need, right? So we can't put it in other people's hands, right? Because your health is your responsibility, right? When you made the decision to do something different, that is on you. That is your choice. Other people don't have to fall in line, even though it would make it easier. I get it. I remember when I was like, when I was first like working on transition and just eating healthier. And at the time I lived with a partner of mine, right? And I would get frustrated because I'm like, hey, why are you bringing this in the house? Why are you have this here? Why are these, I would get frustrated and I would try to make him not bring certain things in the house. But that wasn't being respectful of him. That wasn't honoring where he was, right? Just because I'm ready to, change everything doesn't mean that those around me have to, right? So that's a big thing. Is to just make sure you're setting yourself up for success. You're preparing in advance. So you're communicating with your partner, right? Letting them know that you are even making this shift, right? You let them know, okay? And then you let them know how they can support you, right? Like, hey, baby, these are my triggers, or this helps me when you do this. Let them know. We got to talk about it. And then you plan your meals in advance, right? You plan your meals, you plan your snacks, right? You all are, maybe y'all have wine, you and your spouse have wine all the time. You're like, hey, I'm not trying to do all the wine. I'm going to have a seltzer water, right? Or I'm going to have some fresh juice in a wine glass, right? Prepare in advance. And the last tip that I'm going to give to you for really being able to manage the differences, the dietary differences with your partner, is to remember your why. Why did you set out to create this shift? Why did you set out to create this change? Really think about it. Why are you wanting to do this in the first place? What is it doing for you, right? So you have to go back to your why, because you're going to be tempted. You're going to have days where you want to give up. You're going to have days where you're just like, I gotta cook. I don't feel like doing this. Right? You're going to have those days. So you have to stay committed to your why. You're going to have those days where your partner or you're having activities, family activities, friend activities, and you are surrounded by things, right? That you want to eat, but you know it's not serving you. You know that it's feeding your demise and it's not feeding your health, right? So you're going to be in those situations. So it's about knowing, hey, why am I doing this? I'm doing this so that I can get off of my medication. I'm doing this so that I can feel better in my body because I'm tired of not having energy. I'm tired of feeling like I can barely get through my day. I'm tired of feeling like I can't move my body in the way I want to because I feel so loaded with all the processed foods that's in my body, right? So remember your why. Remember, hey, I want to have more energy so that I can play with my child, so I can run around and play catch with them, right? So that I can stay up and play a game of Scrabble, right? So I have more energy. So that I have more energy to pursue my dreams, to pursue my goals, so that I can avoid chronic disease, so I can avoid preventable chronic diseases. Maybe your why is you want to get over a chronic disease that you are currently dealing with, right? Maybe you just want to enhance your quality of life. You just want to feel good in your body because it's not about just living long. I don't want to live long if I'm falling apart and feel like crap, right? So you want to make sure you have a good quality of life, and it all boils down, or a big part of it boils down to your diet. So you have to remember your why. So once again, I know that it can be frustrating when you are looking to make changes and your partner is not quite there yet, right? But the thing is, it starts with you. It starts with you and it ends with you. And if you use these strategies to really support you, you're going to stick with it. You're going to see your goals through, whether those around you are on board or not. You got this. Okay, so once again, I hope you got some value out of this. If you did, subscribe. Let's grow the community. Okay, and if you want to support me on my other platforms, you can find me on TikTok as My Antoinette, as well as I'm here, right, on YouTube as My Antoinette. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Peace.